Hey everyone, welcome back to 4J Music. Today I want to talk to you about the topic of dynamics in worship. Now, when I refer to the word dynamics, I'm talking about the volume changes that should be happening naturally. Hopefully, not every song you're playing is the same volume, and obviously, one of the very crucial parts of dynamics is what the drummer's playing. They really control a lot of the intensity, or maybe whenever the worship team is actually on a little bit of a downward slope, really the drummer can make or break that, right? So I want to talk to you about some of the things that really go into dynamic playing for percussion and drums, specifically and drum set and worship. Somebody once told me that it's really important that a good drummer develop about 10 different dynamic levels. And so what I see a lot of times, especially with young players, is that they only develop two, loud and louder, right? That's all that they really can play. That's something that, requires time to develop that. But one of the ways that you can really add a bigger range to your dynamics is really being intentional about what you're playing on. Okay, in this example right here, we were playing the song "I Speak Jesus" by Charity Gale. My rule of thumb is whenever you play two of something, you need to have some sort of dynamic direction. Either we're climbing or we're bringing it down. Right? In this particular section of the song, we actually played two choruses back to back. The very first time I played just the regular tom groove, I would probably call that my level 5. The second time through the chorus, you could see a little bit of difference. I'm actually playing a little heavier. You can noticeably tell that there's a more force being used on every drum. But not only that, I'm actually playing snare drum and hitting the hi-hat slightly open together so that it actually fattens out that beat 4 sound. So we're actually climbing a little bit, and I didn't really have to work that much harder to be able to add that next dynamic level, right? And so it's just a subtle thing, but again, just playing a little bit higher and stronger on the drum, not much, but also adding that stronger beat 4 can help. So this is what that sounded like.
Your name is here. Your name is high. Oh, he breaks all the strongholds. Break every stronghold. Shine through the shadows. Burn like a fire. Oh, yeah. Your name is power. Your name is healing. Your name is life.
Next thing I want to talk to you about is just some of the nuances of drums, and something that I hope you know about that. And if not, I'll tell you right now is that when you play in the middle of the snare drum, you're actually going to be getting the driest sound in the middle. Okay, and I know that a lot of that the things about the drum itself may depend on any muffling you have, the gels, the rings and stuff like that, or maybe even the head that you're using. I've seen people use tape and all kinds of different things. But generally speaking, the middle is going to be the driest sound, all right? It's also going to be a little bit louder in the middle, right? So you want to be really careful about what you do on the snare drum, okay? There's a lot of different sounds that you can get out of that, okay? And so in this excerpt right here, I'm going to show you, I was playing a little backbeat in the verse. This is actually not even a level 5 or my level 5. I'd call this maybe a level 4 volume. And so I was playing a little backbeat thing and doing some grace notes with my left hand, these little diddles on the inner beats. The thing about it is that had I done those in the middle of the drum, it would have been too overbearing. But moving out to the edge for those grace notes actually increased the snare response, but also drop the volume down so that you're not getting the full brunt of the diddle. Obviously I had to use a smaller stroke, but you see that constant motion back and forth, between the middle of the drum to the edge that my left hand is doing. I'm actually doing more. It's a very technical thing to do, those grace notes, those open diddles like that. But because I'm doing it on the edge in a very subtle way, it's not overbearing. A lot of times, drummers would, again, if they only have one volume, everything that they're playing is one volume, it is just really overbearing sometimes. So you can, create some subtleties if you kind of experiment with the different tones that you can get out of the drum, right? So this is what that sounded like.
We say, Jesus, the name above every other. Yeah. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. There is no one.
The last thing I want to share with you is actually an exercise that you can do in worship practice, or maybe you can do at home. But maybe if you're at church and the vocalists are breaking out to do their harmony, parts or whatever, and the guitar players are doing whatever guitar players do, whatever happens in rehearsal, however you structure it, maybe there's some time that you can find on the drum set there and be able to play this exercise that I'm about to show you. Okay, now this is not a speed exercise. Okay, this is not about how fast you can go. It's actually more about how slow you can go, because a lot of the songs that are coming out right now in worship music are actually going the other direction. They're going slower and slower and slower, and they're getting more glacial. I hate that, but it's just kind of the way it is. Now, that doesn't mean they're getting softer, right? And so we've got to be able to play at all volumes, and sometimes even changing volumes without speeding up or slowing down. Okay, at a slow tempo, the tendency is going to be want to speed up. Okay, tempo changes and during syncopated things, those are the two greatest places where I see young musicians struggle with keeping a steady time. All right, so we can work on one of those right now using this exercise. We're going to go to our metronome and set it to 65 beats per minute, and we're going to play a measure of eighth notes with our right hand, increasing the volume and also increasing the height, obviously, and then a measure coming down. It'll look like this: 2, ready, and go. Then the left hand, ready, and go. Okay, and so you can do that over and over and over again. You don't want to just do it one time. Okay, just because you can do it one time doesn't mean that you've got it done. So, the second thing I would do is do double stops. Okay, let's say you're doing some big eighth note build. You have your snare drum and maybe tom, and you could even try this with the kick and work that in there. Depending on your where you're doing this, right? But you can do the same thing and work on going up and down a measure at a time. And take 2, take 3, take 4, take. Right, so go up and down. And then the last thing I would do is actually combine both hands and do 16 notes. And you can again incorporate the kick if you're on a drum set, but on the pad I'm just going to do this and 2, 16 notes, and okay, so we can go up and down at that tempo and be able to change our volume and work on changing our volume without changing the tempo, right? Obviously, you want to be able to do that at different tempos, and whatever tempos you're doing in your songs at church, use some of those tempos. Just get the click track tempo, and then try working on some of those tempos so that you're able to do this all the time comfortably. And so something I would encourage you to do, again, just work on that, work on these things, and be able to grow as a musician and help your worship team develop a wider dynamic level. That's what this is all about, be able to play at different heights and intensities. Anyway, I hope this is something that is helpful to you, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And again, I just wish you the very best in your musical journey. Thanks. Bye-bye.